Hi everyone. Welcome to the Science Info channel. Before we get started, kindly make sure to like and share this video. Smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Today we are going to talk all about the concept of time travel and time machines. Time travel is the concept of movement between certain points in time, analogous to movement between different points in space by an object or a person, typically with the use of a hypothetical device known as a time machine. Time travel is a widely recognized concept in philosophy and fiction. The idea of a time machine was popularized by H.G. Wells's 1895 novel The Time Machine. It is uncertain if time travel to the past is physically possible. Forward time travel, outside the usual sense of the perception of time, is an extensively observed phenomenon and well understood within the framework of special relativity and general relativity. However, making one body advance or delay more than a few milliseconds compared to another body is not feasible with current technology. As for backward time travel, it is possible to find solutions in general relativity that allow for it, such as a rotating black hole. Traveling to an arbitrary point in spacetime has very limited support in theoretical physics, and is usually connected only with quantum mechanics or wormholes. Let us discuss the history of the time travel concept. Some ancient myths depict a character skipping forward in time. In Hindu mythology, in the Mahabharata story, the king Raivata Kakudmi travels to heaven to see the creator Brahma and is surprised to learn when he returns to earth that many ages have passed. The Buddhist Pali Canon mentions the relativity of time. The Payasi Sutta tells of one of the Buddha's chief disciples, Kumara Kassapa, who explains to the skeptic Payasi that time in the heavens passes differently than on earth. In the Japanese tale of Urashima Taro, a young fisherman named Urashima no Ko visits an undersea palace. After 3 days, he returns home and finds himself 300 years in the future. Where he has been forgotten finds his house is in ruins, and his family has died. In Jewish tradition, the 1st century BC scholar Ani Ha-Magal is said to have fallen asleep for 70 years. When he woke up and returned home, he found none of the people he knew, and no one believed his claims of who he was. When did the concept of time travel shift to science fiction? Early science fiction stories feature characters who sleep for years and awaken in changing society or are transported to the past through supernatural means. Among them, L'An 2440, Rêve Ciel en Feu Jamais in 1770 by Louis-Sébastien Mercier, Rip Van Winkle in 1819 by Washington Irving. Looking Backward in 1888 by Edward Bellamy, When the Sleeper Awakes in 1899 by H.G. Wells. Prolonged sleep, like the time machine, is used as a means of time travel in these stories. Alexander Veltman was published in 1836, in which Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig dance in a vision is shown to Scrooge by the ghost of Christmas past. Let us discuss some early time machines. One of the first stories to feature time travel by means of a machine is The Clock That Went Backward by Edward Page Mitchell, which appeared in the New York Sun in 1881. In which an unusual clock, when wound, runs backward and transports people nearby back in time. The author does not explain the origin or properties of the clock. Enrique Gaspar y Rimbau's El Anachronopede in 1887 may have been the first story to feature a vessel engineered to travel through time. The Clock That Went Backward 1881 is usually described as the first time machine story, but H.G. Wells's The Time Machine 1895 popularized the concept of time travel by mechanical means. Factually, no one has yet managed to travel through time, at least to our knowledge, but the question of whether or not such a feat would be theoretically possible continues to fascinate scientists till today. As for movies such as The Terminator and many others show, moving around in time creates a lot of problems for the fundamental rules of the universe. If you go back in time and stop your parents from meeting, for instance, how can you possibly exist in order to go back in time in the first place? Let us discuss if paradox-free time travel is plausible in modern time. Physicists at the University of Queensland claim to have come up with mathematical modeling that states that it is theoretically possible to go back in time without a paradox. According to an official release by the University of Queensland, Germaine Tobar, student at the University of Queensland, has been researching the possibility of time travel, under the supervision of physicist Dr. Fabio Costa. Tobar and Costa both claim to have found a way to square the numbers to prove if such time travel is theoretically plausible. Dr. Costa said, "The math checks out, and the results are the stuff of science fiction." He further explained an example of a person's time traveling to find patient 0 of COVID-19 and stop them from getting infected to stop the pandemic. He, however, said this would then eliminate the reason for the person to time travels entirely, creating a paradox. Dr. Costa further explained that this paradox is an inconsistency that often leads people to think that time travel cannot occur in our universe. Some physicists say it is possible, but logically it's hard to accept because that would affect our freedom to make any arbitrary action. It would mean you can time travel, but you cannot do anything that would cause a paradox to occur. What are the important findings of the research conducted at the University of Queensland? According to the research, neither of these conditions might be the case. Events are likely to adjust themselves to be logically consistent with any action that the time traveler makes. Tobar said in the coronavirus patient 0 examples, you might try and stop patient 0 from becoming infected. But in doing so you would catch the virus and become patient 0, or someone else would. No matter what you did, the salient events would just recalibrate around you, he added. This would mean that, no matter your actions, the pandemic would occur, giving your younger self the motivation to go back and stop it, he further said. Tobar has been focusing on whether there can be a unified theory that combines classical dynamics and Einstein's theory of relativity. Classical dynamics says if you know the state of a system at a particular time, this can tell us the entire history of the system. This has a wide range of applications, from allowing us to send rockets to other planets and modeling how fluids flow, Tobar said. However, Einstein's theory of general relativity predicts the existence of time loops or time travel where an event can be both in the past and future of itself, thus theoretically turning the study of dynamics on its head, he explained, adding that current consensus suggests that both these theories cannot be true. Germain Tobar said, as physicists, we want to understand the universe's most basic, underlying laws. And for years I've puzzled about how the science of dynamics can square with Einstein's predictions. According to their model, events will align themselves logically to stop any inconsistency in the universe, making time travel at the free will possible. The research was published in Classical and Quantum Gravity. Classical and Quantum Gravity is an established journal for physicists, mathematicians, and cosmologists in the fields of gravitation and the theory of spacetime. The journal is now the acknowledged world leader in classical relativity in all areas of quantum gravity. Thanks for watching.